Welcome back to DS Radio Shack. Good morning, everybody. On Monday, kick off our week. Hope it'll be a good one. And we're almost at the end of the month. That's it. Come Saturday, it'll be March 1st. Before we realize it, it's going to be spring. I can't wait. That's for sure. So that'd be great. Bootlegger, how are you? Welcome to the channel. So, I under any tone here on the bench for sure. Hello, Brandon. Michael, good morning. Matt, good morning. Brandon, yours was February 5th. If you go back and look, you'll see your video. That's February 5th. And your radio there. So, anyway, the hot topic today, good morning, Kevin, is antenna tuner. And a little bit more as to should we run two antennas or not, etc. And that all kind of varies as to your application. So let's start with the antenna part first. Okay, so the antenna, if you're going to run two antennas, let's say like on a semi truck, okay, so that would be a benefit if you can get them in, tuned nice and easy, because when you have a big rig, you got your cab in the way. Generally, the antennas are lower than the cab on a mirror, so where they typically are mounted. So that means you have to get your antenna higher, right? So you can't go so high because you're only allowed 13 feet 6 inches in the ground up. So by the state regulations, that's pretty much all across the country. So what this means is, it means if you have an antenna, we'll say on the driver's side, and let's say someone's driving down the interstate throughway there, and you live north of them, it's going to be a little harder for you guys to talk back and forth because you have to fight the cab of the truck to get to the antenna. Now, if he were facing the opposite direction, and he's headed where the driver's side is facing you, he's headed east. If you're on the north side, we'll say, for example, okay, then you would have better luck talking to that driver. So if you run two antennas, the benefit of that would be based on the application. Well, this application here, for example, would be because you have a semi-truck with a big cab. So two antennas would really benefit because now that kind of takes up the difference to give you a good 360 range around the vehicle. So now if you have a personal vehicle, you don't need two antennas. Just one is good enough. Just get a really nice antenna and you'll do just fine. I'd recommend the Predator 10K or the Serial 5000 magnum antenna. Those are really good antennas, excellent antennas. So that's what I would do. Now, as far as the tuner goes, people think a tuner is just to fool your SWR. That is not true. What the antenna tuner does, it looks for anything that is an unmatched impedance. So if you do not have 50 ohms as your antenna coming down the line to the radio, then the antenna tuner's job is to say, hey, we need to be at 50 ohms. So it's going to help with the capacitance, and the inductance is going to help control that and bring it to a 50 ohm impedance. That's what the antenna tuner does. Okay. Some people think it's just, well, we put it on here, we're just lying to ourselves. No, that's not true. Okay. Your antenna is obviously not resonant or built to that frequency bandwidth. So if you have an antenna that is, we'll say, I don't know, a 6 on an SWR, you're on, we'll say, I don't know, 17 meter band, for example, and you're on a CB radio, and you have the wrong antenna, well, then that's where you need an antenna tuner to help tune it in, if you can get it down, based on what the antenna is. That might be a bad example because 17 meters is quite a far fetch from 27 megs. So more like, we'll say, like a 10 meter band, which is pretty close. So the purpose of the antenna tuner is to get the antenna, the impedance of the antenna. Let me rephrase that. So it's the impedance of the antenna to match. That's what the tuner's for. So it will help improve your quality of transmission, quality of receive, and reduce the risk of damage of any RF coming back down the line into the radio, taking out your most expensive parts such as your AM regulator, and your final stage. Okay, so that's the purpose of having an antenna tuner. Now, some people think that, well, I got an antenna, so it's already tuned in. I got a 1.1, 1.2. Cool, right? Hey, that's good. You don't need an antenna tuner at that point. But an antenna tuner is always a good benefit to have. So let's say you have a ham license, right? And you have a CB base antenna. And you want to jump on 10 meters, but you don't have a 10 meter. You don't have that. You don't have it tuned to 10 meters. Then you can buy yourself a tuner, antenna tuner, plug it in line, and you can tune that antenna to have the same impedance what you're looking for on that CB antenna. So you don't have to go out and buy another antenna. It's still going to perform just as good if you have a antenna tuner. Now, a lot of people might argue with this. They might, say, no, he's giving you all false information. That's not true. Okay, not true at all. If they argue this, they have no clue what the purpose of an antenna tuner is. It's just that simple. Look it up online for yourselves and do your research, and you will find that the antenna tuner has many applications to it, many reasons why you should have an antenna tuner, especially if you have an antenna that's not resonant to what you're looking for. Now, if you cut all your antennas to the frequency of what you need, then you're good to go. But if you have like a multi-band antenna, such as a, like say, a G5RV or a dipole of some sort, or end-fed wire, or whatever you got going on, then the antenna tuner would be a must. Because and you want to get an external antenna tuner, because the ones inside the radio are like a 2-to-1. So you need to get something that's going to be like a 9-to-1. And that's where your external tuners come in. The internal tuners can only just do so much, and they can only just go out just to a certain bandwidth, and then that's it. They just can't tune outside of a certain area. But if you got a really good antenna, and you got a good antenna tuner, external tuner, then you can do whatever you want with it. I mean, I've got antenna tuners that I could take a dog kennel cage outside, and I can tune that for an HF antenna. I can tune gutters on a house to an antenna. I got some pretty nice antenna tuners here. So it all depends on what you have, what your applications are for, etc. So that's pretty much the topic about this for this morning, because as some people ask about is it smart to have an antenna tuner even if you got like a 1.1 or 1.2. I says, well, if you're already that low, you don't need one, but you don't want any RF coming down the line either. So just improve your coax line or whatever you got to do to make up the difference. But if you have an antenna, you can't get below a 1.5, 1.6. Anything from a 1.1 to 1.5 is very minute. That's okay. Anything above 1.5, you want to try to check things out. But remember, the more power you put in, if you're at a 1.5 and you want to increase a high power radio, you're going to increase that SWR too. So you want to make sure you got an antenna tuner to maintain and pull that down. So it's real simple. It's not rocket science, guys. I mean, an antenna tuner is very important to have. They've got auto tuners, they've got MFJ tuners, they've got LDG tuners. I got a variety of both here, and if you're going to buy an LDG, just make sure you get the right one. They've got some that are for Yaesu, ICOM, and Kenwood. You got to read the model number on that, because each one is different. So, but they're nice to have for sure. So, if anybody has any questions on that, drop your comments down below. But otherwise, is what it is really at this point. So, just want to kind of put that information out here a little bit for people that want to learn more about the antennas and what's going on. And I've seen sometimes where, even for myself, it's like, God, I got this antenna, measure right where it needs to be. At the lowest point on some of the antennas, I can't get below 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. It's like, oh, geez. Even though it's good, it's not bad, but it could be better. And so there's times where I found on a trucker's antenna, you take a 1/4 of an inch off the whip, you get that, let's say you get like a 1.5, right? You're like, okay, well, it's going down. Every time you take a little bit off, it's going down from, we'll say, let's start with like a 2, and you're down to 1.5. Okay, cool. So you take a little bit more off, okay. Then you find out it's going the other direction, which means you don't have enough ground plane source to get that down, which that would be a good time to put an antenna tuner in. So if 1.5 is the lowest you can get, and it ain't changing, then at this point it's best to get an external tuner to drop down the rest of it and keep that thing flat. The idea is to reduce as much power, as much reflection coming in as possible. So any power is coming back in your antenna line, whether it be 1 watt, 2 watt, 3 watt, 4 watt, you don't want none of that coming down your antenna line. You want to keep it very clean as possible to improve your output performance. You'll have better receive come in and whatnot as well. So you want to try to think about your application, what you're using them for, I suppose. Go from there. Really, that's what it comes down to. There we go. What would I suggest for a tuner? Well, that depends on what your applications are. So, for example, a lot of these ones right here, these LDG tuners are really nice tuners. I would suggest looking into one of those. These are pretty good units, and they remember where you go. So when you key, just push down the tune and get it started, and let her be. Each one varies on different models based on the make and model you're running for radio. Michael's got the AT200. Yeah, okay. Those are nice. I mean, these are good tuners here. You can get... these are compact. These are nice. They aren't very big at all. So you can put these right in your truck. Maybe 6 inches or so. Wide and long, 1.5 inches maybe wide, thick. So real simple. Power. Interface, if you want to run that on certain applications, you can do so. Then you got your input and your output. And you got your ground lug here. Always ground everything, guys. It's really important to ground everything. That's what makes you a good antenna system, a good radio station, is everything's grounded. It's got to be grounded. If it ain't grounded good, some people say, well, I got a wire going this way. It's not enough. You know, you can have the best ground in the world connected by a wire. You still got to figure out what your ground plane is going to be. Just because you connect the ground wire doesn't mean anything. That just helps it. But you still have what they call a ground plane source. So, for example, take a little wheel, those little wheel magnum mount antennas, put it on the top of your car. Let's say you get a 1.3. Okay, it's working pretty good. Well, you would think, being a small magnet, you got all that metal for a roof of your car, should be enough surface space ground. One would probably say, yeah. Okay, and that may be very true. However, it's because of the size of the magnet. You don't have enough surface space ground. So it can only just draw in so much. So now you get yourself a 5-inch magnet mount opposed to a 3-inch. And you find out the SWR is a lot lower because you've got more surface space ground. So it's always important to have that ground connectivity, but also you got to look for what they call surface space ground. Okay, surface space ground, and the SSG is what is known. If you look it up online, it's very important to have. Some people say, well, I got it grounded, I'm grounded good, I got a strap right here. Yeah, and I've seen people use air conditioners. I've done the same thing when I was younger. Took an air conditioner, stuck a magnet mount on top and on the damn thing, and I got a good SWR. Okay, that's cool. It doesn't mean my performance is going to be good. No, I mean, I've got it down where it's like 1.3, 1.2, 1.4. You would think, oh, that's not bad at all. But it can always be better. That's for sure. So, all right, guys. Anyway, that's our hot topic today. And I'll get the video going here in a moment for Mr. Bob to get his radio up and going here. These are nice radios, simple to tune. Just changing values inside the front menu. That said, these are all menu driven. And you change the values to get the best performance on an oscilloscope and spectrum analyzer. If you don't have the equipment, don't get in here and change values, because you're going to tune everything all out of sequence. You don't want to do that. Yes, better ground, better performance. Everything's got to be grounded good, but you also got to have a good antenna. So let's say you got a really good ground. You're like, damn, man, this is like the best ground of all. Okay, but you still can't get that SWR. Or maybe you got a good SWR. You might have like a 1.1. You're like, oh, this is perfect. But then you might find yourself, I'm not getting out. I'm just not hearing people random. People aren't hearing me. Then it comes down to the antenna, which means you might have an antenna tuned in really good, but the performance of that antenna may not do what you want it to do. For example, okay, so what that means is, let's say you got a 10-year-old kid. He's all energized. He had his breakfast. He's ready to go. He's going to do a nice, 1-mile marathon, right? We'll just make it simple, right? Then you got this 20-year-old kid that's all geared up, ready to go. Had his breakfast, his morning energy, and all that good stuff. He's ready to go. Well, even though the 10-year-old kid is ready to go, he's 100% ready to go, doesn't mean he's going to perform as good as the 20-year-old kid, right? So that means your antenna could be a really good antenna at its performance, but then you get a better antenna to perform at a higher performance. So it's all based on your applications for sure. Fire sticks, I don't care for fire sticks. I've had bad luck with those damn things. I know they are okay for some extent, but I don't like the fire stick antennas. I can never get those things perform worth a damn. The striker antennas are really good. Try to go with the Serial if you can, or a Predator 10K. Yeah, you can get a flat SWR and a fire stick, but it's just performance. How far can you get up the road with those things? On average, I've heard people maybe 3 or 4 or 5, sometimes 6, 7 miles, but most of the time it's between 1 and 3 miles, if that. I don't know. I never had luck with a fire stick. Some of them are pretty good. I hear a lot of good guys with those, but I never had much luck with those. So, anyway, there's one more announcement I wanted to make, and that is if everybody could take and put your thoughts and prayers out for Mr. Rick Amato down in Florida, because he's going to go under surgery today to have a few things taken care of. He'll be fine. It's all going to come out good, so it's not nothing, life-threatening, we'll say, but he's going to go in and take care of a few things, and he'll be good to go for sure. So, so if everybody could take a moment of silence to, let's all wish Rick a very well, outcome for his surgery today. He'll be going in there pretty fast this morning. I think he said 8 o'clock or something. I think it was. I think he's going in or so. It was the last message I got last night. So if everybody could hope and pray that all goes good for him, and nice guy and all, and hopefully he will be able to. I'm sure he will. He'll be much better after today. So, but they got to take care of a couple of small stuff, no big deal, and they'll get it all squared away today. So he'll be able to get back on track and go from there. So, for sure. So, Rick, when you get a chance to watch this, good luck, and we'll see you back on the air here pretty quick. Hello, Dallas. How are you? Hello, Boxcar. Hello, James. David, everybody else in there, how are you? Big K. How are you? Morning, Johnny. Alright guys, we're going to move on and get our day started. We got a lot to do. This is any tone off the bench. I got a lot more to do, and so we will see everybody a little later for sure, and carry on our day, no doubt. Hello Byron, how are you? Good morning. Yeah, I would have stayed out here longer than last night, but Sunday, shop is closed. I didn't want to come back out here and turn it all back on, so otherwise I would have jumped on last night, see if we can make a contact, but next time, for sure. So. M. Williams, how are you? Good morning to you. It's a habit looking for me? Yeah, well, that's a good thing, right? I guess it's better to watch this channel than it is, some of the news channels, all the political propaganda. So... Alright guys, we'll see you soon here at the DX Radio Shop. Stay tuned, I'll be back here shortly for sure. Everyone enjoy your Monday, we'll see you soon. Like, share, subscribe, hit that button guys. Get your alert, hit the bell. And if you're having trouble with the alerts, sometimes you gotta unsubscribe and resubscribe and get right to it. But otherwise, we'll see you guys here shortly with another video at the DX Radio Shop. Thank you all for watching this one.